Giants fans, what is going on? You are listening to another episode of New York Giants Rush. Thank you for sitting through a minute and a half of cool intros. We always appreciate you guys coming in and coming through. A bit of an unusual lineup that we have tonight for the Rush show. Obviously, you've seen me, Chris, and Nikki all come through. Craig cannot join us tonight. His son's got a banquet tonight to celebrate their successful football year. And I believe Craig's son is playing quarterback. Chris, Nikki, can you confirm that? I believe he's the quarterback for this championship team.
I think he is, right, Chris? He is?
Yeah, he's quarterback, and then I think he played some running back. He had a big run, I think, in the championship game Sunday. And I think tonight's the banquet. So, yeah, nice. Congratulations to their team winning the championship.
Yeah, that's awesome stuff. Obviously, Craig was a great athlete back in the day. He played wide receiver for NJIT, College of New Jersey. For all who do not know that. So Craig does know what he's talking about when he's talking Giants football, and he's a little concerned about the wide receivers. But yeah, welcome to another episode of the show. Got good news. Got bad news. The bad news is the Giants are coming off of two ugly losses, right? One to Dallas, which was expected, but of course always heartbreaking because we really don't beat them very often. And then again, coming off that one against Detroit, where we should have won that game, and the Giants didn't even show up. That's the bad news. The good news is this. The Giants are playing this Sunday to really get cusp here of a playoff spot. Of course, it doesn't guarantee them anything, but they're really in a position to succeed here if they pull this off. Chris, Nikki, we're feeling a little down right now. How are you guys feeling, though, knowing that the Giants are 7-1 going into this game, going to the month of December with a winning record, which is the first time since it has to be 2016 since we've done this?
I don't know. I want to feel so confident, but I just don't. Not after the past 2 weeks. I know we're getting some guys back healthy, which is great, but I'm cautiously optimistic. I feel like, they just got their asses handed to them in Dallas. They're coming off that Detroit loss. So you would think that they would be fired up and ready to go. The wide receiver position really concerns me. It really, really concerns me. So I'm cautiously optimistic. I'm not feeling like great, but I'm not feeling totally pessimistic about it either.
Chris, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, being a Giants fan these past, 10 years or so, we were always ready for the other, the roof to cave in at some point. However, when you look at the big picture, right? I mean, they lost 2 in a row. They didn't lose 6 in a row. So let's a nice little break after Thanksgiving, right? They had some days off. They came back Monday, and hopefully, like Dable said today, the season starts this Sunday. So the whole NFC East is in the playoffs. So let's make good use of it and beat some of these teams.
I'm absolutely with you guys. Absolutely with you. Now, look, Chris, Nikki and I talked a little bit about the Giants-Cowboys game last night, but obviously we go into different topics. A little tough to stray away completely from the Giants just because of the fan base of the show, right? But one thing I definitely want to talk about is coming out of that Cowboys loss. Obviously heartbreaking. Already touched base on that. Can you give me one positive and one negative that you felt coming out of that game?
They were 13-7 at halftime. Opportunities were there in the second half, right? If Jones makes a better throw, Barkley makes that catch, he may take it to the house, and it's the momentum totally shifts. I'll give you a good thing about the game. How about the secondary, right? Rodarius Williams, who's been out the whole season, was hardly even in training camp, comes up with some key plays, an interception. Secondary played pretty well. Yeah, they got beaten up, Darnay Holmes a little bit, and Nick McLeod later on. But for the most part, I mean, they hung in there with a pretty good, very good receiving core of Dallas. So give them credit. The secondary did their best, and they hung on as long as they could, and they played hard. So can't fault them than that. They played hard all game.
Yeah, I definitely, agree that there were some surprises for me with the secondary and how well they played. Unfortunately, who was it that was covering Gallup though? He was struggling a little bit. I'm drawing a complete blank right now.
On Gallup, that might have been
Darnay Holmes.
That was Darnay Holmes on Gallup, right?
Yeah, that was disappointing because there were some big plays that he led up in that game, and it's tough. It's not easy to play perfect football, and were down, but I expected a little bit better out of him. But you're right. Other guys stepped it up pretty big time against some of their best receivers.
I mean, realistically, you're almost playing against 2 or 3 number ones over there with Dallas, right?
Yeah.
Between C. Lamb and Gallup, they'd be number ones on most teams. So it's a hell of a receiving group they have.
Yeah, and they're always loaded with talent. Like you go back, really the last 15 years, they always have unbelievable amounts of talent. It's just funny, like their best seasons, they'll go 13-3, and now 13-4, make the playoffs, but then they always consistently completely blow it. Nikki, what about you? Do you have a positive and a negative takeaway for this game?
Yeah, I didn't love the play calling in this game. Was not a fan of it. Wasn't really sure what they were doing. I understand the team is decimated with injuries. I get that. I know we have no wide receivers. God forbid we get Kenny Galladay like in the mix. I mean, it's only getting $72 million, but so he was a non-factor. So I wasn't in love with the play calling. But hey, big play Slay. He is always there. He is like Daniel Jones' safety blanket. He always comes up big for us, save for a couple times where, he dropped a few passes this season, but he is the one consistent that you can always trust him to come up big. So I thought he had a big game when he needed to. But yeah, play calling, I don't think it's been great the past couple weeks. I don't know what you guys think.
I personally think this. It's starting to look too much like, real quick, Joe, what's going on, man? It's starting to look too much like Garrett in the sense that it's too conservative. Now, there's a little bit more diversity in the kind of plays that they do run. It's gotten a little bit more Jason Garrett-ish in terms of less flexibility there. Less end arounds, less special play mix-ups. But you're right. I mean, it's one of those problems where it's like they're almost playing not to lose again. And then they just lose anyway because they were playing such conservative offensive football. I have more confidence in Daniel Jones and Slayton and some of these receivers to make these plays beyond 15 yards than Kafka does. And I am a little surprised. I know they rely so heavily on the run, but in today's NFL, you have to get the offense going. And I don't really see that many mistakes out of Daniel Jones as it is. I can count a good amount. There's been some. But it's not like he's consistently botching plays. I don't think his vision's been as bad as it has in years past. I think we got to let him rip shots down the field so that we can assess if he's even worthy of kind of coming back here. It's very critical that we're able to see that. Chris, what are your thoughts on the play calling?
Well, I thought late in the fourth quarter, there seemed to be a little more urgency they needed. It seemed like the Giants were kind of getting to the line a little bit slower. They were relying on the run maybe a little bit too much. I just felt like the urgency in that fourth quarter before garbage time when they scored that last touchdown, they were down by 2 scores, that with the clock moving, they should have maybe sped it up a little bit. But yeah, I agree with you. A little more, they were a little conservative. And I don't know if that's because they were banged up on the offensive line. They just didn't want to be a little more open. But yeah, it was a little different.
Yeah. And it's been 2 weeks of that real quick. I mean, it's been 2 weeks of that offense, where it's they come out very conservative and then they're scrambling to get it together at the very end and try to get any sense of points on. And, you're right. When you watch the offense be a lot more productive that late in the game, why not open up with a little bit more fire? Because we have to get points on the board if we want to win these football games. And I don't think our offense, I know our receivers are down, but it's still worth giving it a shot because we got to get these points.
Yeah, very Jason Garrett-esque. And I was not, oh my God, just terrible flashbacks, right? Where you're like waiting all game for this team to get going. And you're absolutely right. I mean, everybody wants to kill Daniel Jones, but again, this is the first time we've seen him play an entire season. He has no wide receivers. The play calling really hasn't been that great. And I think he's doing the best he can with what he has. I still do not understand. I understand being questioning if he's the guy, if he's the future. What I don't understand is all the hate that he continues to get.
Yeah, I do agree that, I mean, think what you will about Jones's, longevity with this team, but it's like some fans still do act like he's like he's weighing the team down. Whereas, I thought that, maybe in like 2020 a little bit, that maybe he's not the guy that's elevating the team. It changed my mind last year when he went down, the team went to literally a team that could have probably gone 0-17, right? That changed my mind on him. And he's back now. We're playing winning football. We're getting those game-winning drives. It's very critical. Would love to see him just lob up points, though. I want to
Yeah.
see 3 touchdowns, 4 touchdowns out of the guy just to see if he can do it. But, I mean, look, we're bringing up good points, good takeaways. We want to see them improve and play that good football that we know that they can play going into Washington. Real quick, we got somebody else up in here. Peter. Okay, Mike. And all. I'm here, and the dog has walked. All right.
All right.
Peter,
Good.
by the way, Peter's great on Twitter. He just said, he's like, I'm going to be right in. I just got to walk the dogs real quick. It's like, do your thing.
Do your thing. Yes. The pets need to be walked. We understand.
Absolutely.
Right.
Walk your dogs, your cats, your lizards, whatever weird animals you guys all have. Okay. Well, look, I mean, Nikki, I know you kind of brought it up earlier in the private chat about, some of the statistics that, are kind of noteworthy for the Giants right now.
Yeah.
Do you mind ripping them off? And then from there, we can just kind of break away, our takes on that and how we can perceive, the news.
Yeah. So let's go one by one. And I'll give you the first one. Okay. So 1,215. Saquon Barkley ranks 5th in the NFL with 1,215 scrimmage yards. Barkley has over 100 scrimmage yards in 6 games this season. He's also 4th in the NFL with 992 rushing yards.
Wow.
All right. Chris, what's your takedown or your breakdown, I guess, of Saquon and kind of your take on that these stats here?
Yeah, I mean, the stats are great, and I think I feel like he has a lot of carries already, and I just think something's changed with him. I think you guys talked about it on the last show. I don't know if it's an injury. I think, Nikki, you brought it up, but I don't know if it's a shoulder. He's just not the same. I don't know if it's because we've had some fill-ins on the offensive line. I just feel like he needed that break, or he's running out a little – the legs are getting a little tired. But definitely there's a noticeable difference in Saquon right now. But the numbers, yeah, I mean, overall, great year. I just feel like he hasn't been the same the past few weeks, ever since the Detroit game.
Yeah. We haven't seen the Saquon that we saw all season. So
sometimes you can almost see it in Saquon's face because I've seen it. He has a completely different look on his face when he's in that mindset of playing good football. And when he doesn't really quite have it in him because you don't really know if it's an injury or what, or it's a mental state. Unfortunately, I mean, he had a good game against Houston. He ran, 1,000 times. But yeah, I mean, when he plays good football, that's when we win. And so when he's only putting up 30 yards, 40 yards, 20 yards, we're not going to win the game probably. It's been very effective. Anybody can stop our run game. It's really tough for our offense to get going because Kafka doesn't really adjust that well to having to pass a little bit more.
Yeah, and it's even going to be harder this Sunday when you play against Allen and Payne inside, inside. I mean, those are that tandem, arguably, it could be the best in the NFL. It's right up there with the Titans, with their guys, and even with Dexter Lawrence and Williams. But, boy, those guys are going to be tough to run up the middle. So I think Kafka's going to be a little creative this weekend.
He's going to have to be. Yeah. He's going to have to be. I can tell you what Brian Dable said about Feliciano and Gates. So the question was, do you plug Feliciano back in, or did Gates show you enough where that decision would be made? So here's what Brian Dable said. I'll just read it to you guys. He said, I would say relative to the guys coming back, there's still a few days here. Let's get through practice. Let's get to the next day. I don't want to make some split-second decision. I think that's one of the reasons we're going pads. Let's work a little bit on the run game, and let's get some of these guys back and see how they operate in contact stuff.
Love it. Love their in pads. That's great.
Yep. They hadn't been for a few weeks, he said. So they're in pads today. Yep.
It's great news to hear. There's no doubt about it.
All right. Let's go to the second stat.
Sure thing. Hey, real quick. I just want to, some people are in the house here. Real Cold G, the funniest dude we ever had on the show.
Yes, Cold's here. Yes.
Well, you better show up, me and Nikki, next week. We want you on the show, man.
Yeah, Cold, come on. What's up?
And we got your friend Nikki, Rio Robinson's in here. He came to disrespect us a little bit more.
Yes.
Came to talk a little bit more smack.
Talk more smack. Yeah, I know.
That's all right. We appreciate everybody who comes through. Next stat, Nikki, go ahead.
Next stat, 451. So quarterback Daniel Jones has 451, rushing yards this season, the most in a single season by a Giants quarterback in the Super Bowl era. He currently ranks 5th in the quarterback rushing in the NFL.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Come
I'll
on,
go first.
haters. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, I'll go first on this one. You know, it's funny. The Giants used to be so conservative back in, when Eli Manning was the quarterback. Now, partially was the problem was Eli couldn't run. He was very awkward when he ran. He was indecisive about running in the first place. Daniel Jones is a phenomenal runner, and to see him, run the football and have a quarterback that can run the ball, it still hasn't quite hit my mind yet. I always expect that he's going to go down with a sack. It's like, oh, wait, he can run. We have a running quarterback. Just because I wasn't used to that growing up, right? We didn't really have it with Sims. We really just never had it in general, unless you're 70 years old and you can remember Fran Tarkenton. I can't say that I do. But, yeah, look, I mean, when it's third and 5, 3rd and 6, I love it when I'm seeing Daniel Jones go out there to make these runs. And he protects himself. He always slides. He runs out of bounds. He does the right thing so that he can stay healthy. Chris, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it seems like they've gotten away from that a little bit, but ever since that Seattle game, they've stopped it. Right? These teams are on it. They're stopping that RPO, that play fake. They're keying on Barkley even a little bit more. However, this Sunday with the interior line of Washington, I think we see that come back a little bit with Jones running that play fake. Because I think with the interior line of the Giants, other than Gates and the other two guys, with whether it's Bredricson, Izudu, or Glowinski, I don't think that's going to be a great running game going up against Allen or Payne. I think we're going to see a little bit more of that outside zone running or outside power running with either Barkley, Breida, or Jones.
With you. And real quick, Peter had a comment. Jones is a north-south runner. I kind of agree with that. I mean, he's electric when he just kind of goes in that straight line.
Mm-hmm.
He's not really the guy that's going to escape out of a really tight closing pocket, move sideways, move lateral, and kind of shift around. He doesn't really have that, but you know what? When it comes to picking up yards and possibly scoring points, we have a good quarterback for that situation.
Yeah.
Oh, Sarah, no, sorry. No, Craig and his hair is not here today.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're stuck with us. Stuck with my hair today.
Sorry, Sarah's going to tune out now. She's leaving.
Yeah, that's it.
Sorry, Sarah.
He does have an impressive haircut. It's always a lot longer on top than you think. He removes that hat, and all of a sudden he's got like a nice Jesus flow going.
Yeah.
I'm always a little amazed, like how can all that hair fit up inside your baseball hat?
I know. Yeah. All right, let's go to the next stat. Okay, 81.5. Wide receiver Darius Slayton has an 81.5 receiving first down percentage in 2022, the second highest percentage in the NFL, trailing behind Jalen Waddle at 82%, 82.1. Sorry.
Chris, go ahead. No, that's a great stat, right? Who would have thought beginning of the season, this is a guy that wasn't even active for the first game. So kudos to Darius Slayton. I mean, he's come around and really picked it up for us. So, and thankfully, because he's the only one that could stretch the field, right? He opens things up for some of the other guys. So, hey, good job by Slayton.
Yeah, he's the big play Slay. And I'm tired of the Eagles fans telling us otherwise. Sorry.
That's right.
Yeah, I know they have one too, but our guy's a little bit better. All right, 31.09. So Giants rank 7th in the NFL in average time of possession, holding the ball for 31 minutes and 9 seconds per game.
I'm sorry, they're tied for second with longest time of possession? That's what it said?
They rank 7th. In average time of possession, holding the ball for 31 minutes and 9 seconds per game.
Yeah. I'm a little disappointed by that information, just because I sit here and say to myself, if they're able to hold on the ball for that long, obviously a lot of that has to do with the fact they're probably running more than most other teams. I have no doubt in my mind that that's the case, but we got to see some point conversion then. And we're not really seeing that.
No, we're not seeing any really point conversion. This is like kind of annoying and upsetting, and not to deviate, but did you guys see the Baltimore Jacksonville game?
Yes, the end.
Okay. Did you think it was fair? I mean, I know Justin Tucker can kick it from the parking lot, but did you think it was fair to put that on him? It was what, 67 yards?
67, wasn't it?
60? It would have been. Hey, if I was Justin Tucker, I would have loved to have made that field goal. You would, I
Right?
mean, think about it. He was probably like, you know what? If I make it, I'm a legend. If I don't make it, screw it.
I think they asked him, and he was disappointed in himself because he knows he makes those in practice, and
Yeah.
he just came up short. But yeah,
All right, let's move on to the next stat. 10. Giants. The Giants defense has recorded 10 fumble recoveries in 2022, tied for the most in the NFL this season. They have a total of 14 takeaways this season with a net differential of +3.
What do you think that is? I mean, look, because I love the Giants. We always had a good defense, but I never felt like we were a very turnover happy defense, even in our heyday, right? Like, yeah, 2007, 8, like, that wasn't really our specialty. I remember the Baltimore Ravens at that time. It was like, they would have incredible pick six plays and whatnot. It's very interesting to see that stat. I wonder, you see it a little bit more now than you did 10 years ago. If they're going for the ball more with our defensive coordinator, and
I think so. Yeah.
yeah, I think he might be coaching them to do that, knock the ball loose. Let's go over that Thibodeau play from a few weeks ago. That the one where he knocked the ball out of Lamar Jackson's hands. I mean, that was a clear example. He probably could have even gone in for the sack, but he went in for the ball, and actually, that's what won us the game.
Yeah, and even the Jacksonville game, right? You see these guys punching the ball out more when he were going in for a score. And I think it was Darnay Holmes, and then Love picked up the fumble on the 5-yard line. That was ATN. Remember, he was running with the ball, and they punched it out about the 5 against Jacksonville.
Yeah.
So yeah, you see these guys just punching that ball out.
Yeah,
which is great.
That's all Wink, and they've said it, and they say it in every press conference. It's all Wink. It's what he does, and we knew that when he came here that's what we can expect. How about Julian Love? Hell of a season.
Yep. And give props to Jerome Henderson, right, the defensive back coach. He's done a great job with that, with what he has to work with.
All right, last stat that I have for you guys: 5. Dexter Lawrence has recorded a team-leading 5 sacks this season. That is a career high, and he's one of 11 players in the NFC with at least 45 tackles and 5 sacks.
So, I guess my thoughts are this. I love the level of productivity he's bringing. I love it. I mean, he's coming alive this year, and you just say to yourself, this is what you want to see out of your first-round pick. 2 concerns. One doesn't relate to Dexter Lawrence. One is just the fact that I really, really wish that we had an edge that was leading the team in sacks right now. Thibodeau, I mean, sack category is a little disappointing, but, he's a rookie. And then, outside of that, it is a little disappointing that's what's leading the team right now. 5 sacks with Dexter Lawrence. Again, I'll take it. I love his productivity. And then one other negative, and then I'll stop being complete negative, Ned, and you guys can shut me down right now and just tell me, Mike, don't worry about that. I don't like that he's playing electric football on his contract year. I don't, maybe it's the fact that he's doing, just being utilized differently. And I'm really hoping that's what it is. But I get worried about these situations because I just get so worried about players regressing, and it happens all the time. I'm not saying that's Dexter Lawrence's personality. I'm not saying that's something that he would do. But it does concern me every time this happens. All right. Now tell me I'm wrong. Chris, you first.
Well, Coach Patterson, who came over from Minnesota, really likes Dexter. I mean, who doesn't like Dexter? But he's putting him over the center more, as you see this year. So he's really destroying the center. So he's not over the guard as much. He's over the center a little bit more. And he wanted him to use his hands more, and that's his strength. Is Dexter's quick hands, chopping down on those centers and guards that grab his jersey and doing that swipe. So I think the hand placement this year has been emphasized with Coach Patterson with Dexter and really played to his strength. So I think that's a big part of it too, being over the center and really utilizing his hands more.
Yeah. I love to hear it. They did something with his game, and that's what's making him good right now. That's why he's going to be a monster when we sign him again, and he's going to be consistently dominant.
Yeah. I mean, but I get your concern, when players are, having a fantastic year and a contract year, but he doesn't strike me as that type. I've been around him a few times, and he's got this fire in him, and he just wants to win. He just wants to play really good football. Yeah.
Good stuff. Great. I love to hear it. Because Leonard Williams, it's one of those things where he's still a good player. Don't get me wrong. But after that electric year that he had in 2020,
right.
Now the Giants are paying a lot of money towards him. And he was productive, but I don't think he was top, money earner in the league productive. So that's the only reason I get scared. Sorry, guys.
You're like, it's okay.
No, that's a concern. Good concern.
So, Nikki, we are all set with stats.
Yeah, those are the 6 that I had for you guys. Let me just see if there's anything else interesting. But there's some when we talk about Washington, there's some series facts that I can give you guys. So
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Go with the series fact. Let's hear it.
Okay, all right, let's hear it. I mean, there's a bunch, so I'll throw a few out at you guys. Let's see. Series facts. Giants shutouts. 11. 11 at Giants. Okay. Well, most points. Giants 53. Let me see. Oh, that was like some of this is none of this is recent. So it's like fewest points, both teams 2 times. Oh, 0. Okay. That was
fun
yeah.
football.
That was not. Let me see. Okay, series superlative since 1960. Rushing yards, Giants 234. Tiki Barber. That was December 30th, 2006.
6.
Yep.
What's that?
Save Tom Coughlin's job.
Yes.
Out to the playoffs, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, real quick. Real cold.
Yeah.
G had a question. What were you guys' take on Shannon Sharp criticizing Wings play calling?
Great question.
It's a good question. Here's my take. Sometimes you got to think of how much time these guys actually have to watch all the football. I don't really know if Shannon Sharp was able to watch all that game the entire way through. Granted, it was Thursday. He only has to focus on the NFL teams. I think that one kind of came down to talent, where the Giants fell through. A lot more on that than when it came to Wings play calling. But remember, Shannon Sharp and that show that he's on, they get more views and clicks by criticizing harshly these players, these coaches, and everything like that, as opposed to, as to just saying the Cowboys played good football. They're not going to say that. What they're going to say is, no, the Giants played crappy football, and that's why that the Giants lost. That unfortunately attracts more attention. That's my thoughts on Shannon Sharp. I'll let you guys go next.
What? Oh, I didn't. What did he say, Cold? I didn't see what Shannon Sharp said. Did you guys see it?
Yeah, well, I didn't hear I didn't see what Sharp said, but you know what? I'm going to agree with Real Cold if he's questioning it, because the one thing I didn't like is when Schultz caught that touchdown pass, they were in man-to-man, and there you had Nick McLeod, who's really a special teamer and just came in to fill in. I would have liked to see them go in zone in that situation down by the end zone there and not have McLeod on Schultz, which is a mismatch. I wish they would have went zone there, but hey, overall, Wink's done a great job. But yeah, I did question, going man-to-man deep in their end zone.
Yeah, I don't think it was a great game for either side, right? Offensively, I don't think it was called great. Defensively, sure. I think you can criticize Wink for that, but I feel like this week, like we said, some guys are going to come back healthy now. I feel like it might start coming together a little bit.
Chris, is exactly what he said. You kind of hit the nail on the head with what he said there and kind of what you were thinking. So, I mean, in those terms, you're kind of right. That was especially true in the second half. The first half, I thought they played good defensive football.
Right. Sometimes you get the feeling maybe Wink can't help himself, because when you look back to the Ravens last year, they lost all their defensive backs, and he went man-to-man and got destroyed by the Bengals. Wink maybe needs to just take, just know the audience he's working with, during the game, because, it was he likes that man-to-man, but maybe we don't have the horses sometimes. But overall, I think he's done a great job. I think he's played more zone this year than probably has in his coaching career. So give him credit for that. He hasn't done that too much.
I'm with you. But all right, well, hey, let's move on to certain items right now. Let's talk about a couple guys working out with the Giants this week. First one is Adam Humphrey. Chris, talk about that one. Then Nick, let us know your thoughts on this.
Yeah. You want me to go, Nikki, or you wanted to?
Yeah, no, go.
Yeah,
go.
So very interesting. Adam Humphries used to be with Tampa Bay and also was in Washington last year. Now, who knows what goes on behind the scenes? And you've heard this kind of talk before. They bring in a guy like Adam Humphries, played with Washington last year. So Heineke was the quarterback and the same coaching staff. Now, they didn't do a deal, right? Just came in for a workout. I always wonder behind the scenes, do they have a handshake agreement? We'll bring you in next week. They basically interrogate him, find out as much as they can on the Washington system from last year, which is basically the same system. It'll be interesting to see if next week the Giants do bring him in either on the practice squad or to the 53. So, my antenna was up a little bit on that, because I feel like with the pads going on today, Shane and Dable bringing in Humphreys, I feel like they're pulling out all the stops they can this week to end this 2-game losing streak and beat Washington. However, they can do it. They're pulling out the stops. So be interesting to see what happens if they do. And you know what? It fills the punt return spot and a slot, with James, because they only have really James in the slot right now. So that could fill a spot, and also on the punt return.
They could. You might be onto something. They could.
Logan Thomas to answer that question, Peter.
Logan Thomas. Yeah, Logan Thomas is there. Which, Giants can't usually cover a tight end. So maybe all you fantasy players out there, think about that. It's a decent matchup maybe for you.
All right. Well, then how about the big one? Odell Beckham's coming into the office on Thursday. What do you guys think about that? Nikki, you first.
I can't wait. Do not let him leave the building. Do not let him go to Dallas. Please do not. But to give you the official, list here, it is the Giants, December 5th. He will be visiting the Cowboys. Then he will be going to Buffalo. He's kind of keeping the lines of communication open with Kansas City, and the Baltimore Ravens did reach out to his agent. Rumors are swirling that the Eagles might jump in the mix and the 49ers. So please do not. I can't, if he goes to the Cowboys or the Eagles, I can't handle that. Listen, I'm all for him coming back. I know there's so much criticism, but I mean, really, we talked about it. Whatever he could give us for the next couple of weeks is going to be better than what we got now. I mean, Kenny Galladay's given us nothing. 2 catches. Nothing. What? 2 catches against Detroit, was it? Because he was a non-factor against the Cowboys. So
he's making $1 million a catch. I think that's the stat right now.
$1 million a catch. I'll go out there. I'll do it.
I was gonna say, I feel like I can catch one ball on a good day. I'll take that deal.
I sure can.
Catch 5 balls. I think we can retire. I think that's perfect.
We could do it. Yeah. I feel confident about that. And I know there's criticism that, OBJ is not mature. Listen, I get all that. But I just think that he will contribute to this team and will be that extra push that we need to kind of get this offense going a little bit here.
I'm with you. Sarah, we're with you. Come home, OBJ. We'd love to have that productivity. And then real quick, Tudo, thank you for the comment right here. Thank you for tuning in last night. Nikki runs that show. She does an awesome job. We love it when everybody comes on and tunes in. And Tudo, I know you're in Italy. We'd love to have you on the show. Show face. And then, we see that picture of you in the background there. You can take the shirt off for all the diehard fans out there. And then you got to tell us your workout routine.
Yeah, he's always telling us about the Italian ladies that want to see Craig's hair. We have some ladies over here that want to, want to see things too.
Yeah, we got, The gender ratio is a little skewed, but I mean, I'm sure there's some.
I wouldn't mind.
There we go. All right. Well, hey, let me bring up one thing that I love, for this upcoming week. It sounds like it looks good. We're getting Evan Neal back, and we'll probably get Ojulari back. Yep. That level of productivity, to me, it's going to go right through the roof. It's going to shoot up. Without Evan Neal, our run game is completely declined. That dude is a great, great run blocker. He had a little bit of work to do on passing, which was coming around perfectly fine. But that run game, I mean, he's an Alabama offensive tackle. That's how they do it. Nikki, how pumped are you to have Evan Neal back?
Oh, my God. So pumped. This line has missed him so desperately. Dearly, they need him back. Bellinger, Dable said he's optimistic that he's trending in the right direction. So, oh, my gosh, guys, if we could start getting everybody back, that would just be phenomenal.
Yeah. Totally with you. Chris, what are your thoughts on Evan Neal? And just
I mean, Tyree Phillips has done an admirable job, but I think he's declined a little bit since the first week he stepped in. So I think if we can get Evan Neal back, what a huge upgrade. So that's going to be a key, and Brederson too at the guard spot. But Evan Neal, that's going to be a great addition this week if he can come back.
Hey, real quick on Bellinger, Joe's bringing up a great point here. Any update on him, Chris? What did you tell me before the show? Because you had a little bit of detail on it.
Nikki, I think, has a transcript, but Dable, go ahead, Nikki. The Dable made, a comment today. Did you see that?
Yeah, all he said was that he's trending in the right direction. We'll see how he does today, but I'm optimistic.
Okay.
We'll see.
Does that mean optimistic for Sunday? We don't. That's the right optimistic
Well,
for
that's
Sunday.
the thing.
Hopefully.
People are saying Sunday. I see the reports out there, but he literally just said he's optimistic.
Yeah,
so he
right.
did not put a time frame on anything. I just want to make that clear.
And you know what? That's great coach speak, because let Washington have to worry about that, right? So that's great. Let it still hang out there. You know that he will or will not play. So until we get the injury report, I guess Friday we'll get the injury report.
What you want is the coaches of Washington to have to prepare for two different situations so that they're a little bit confused. That's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, and let's not forget he was big in that running game, right? It seems like when Bellinger got hurt, things kind of changed too a little bit. So he's
a great third down catcher too. I mean, that's what he's been doing. That was incredible. Like a lot of those plays last year and what we've done the last couple of weeks without Bellinger, we've missed him because he's that guy, that missing piece that gets us those third downs when we need it.
Yeah, it'll be so great to have him back. No, Cold, you have to be here for the Chip and Dale.
Yeah, real Cold. You got to be a real fan if you're coming through for that episode. That's right. We're just gonna have a Chippendales episode of New York Giants Rush. Which fan has the greatest body? Chris, you can be the judge for that night. I might,
great, thanks, Mike. I appreciate it.
At the bar, and
let's do it.
Oh gosh.
That would be hysterical. But getting Ojulari back, if we can get him back Sunday too, right? Yeah. The opposite Thibodeau, and he's pumped for him to come back, right? He said, he just cannot wait for him to let loose. So, oh gosh, hopefully this is the week, guys. I really hope so.
I'm totally with you. Ojulari,
it's decimated. That Lions game really was just, one of those, you got to be kidding. It sucks to lose, but then when you lose key players, well, they're all key players, but to lose, player after player to injury, that just makes it so much worse.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. But look, those are the topics that I really wanted to cover tonight, but I want to leave this open to any fans. You guys bring up any topic, why don't we talk about it? And then of course, Nikki, Chris, what else should we talk about? What else should we discuss? We should probably get into the Washington game itself and what the Giants need to do to win. Nikki, what are your thoughts kind of going into this one? Concerns about Washington, and then of course, what the Giants, in your opinion, have to do to get this win.
Yeah, I think we have got to get back to the run game some way, somehow, and just pound them into the ground, right? Is Chase Young? I don't think he's back this week, right? Well, they said maybe, so I don't know. We'll see. But for me, we got to see Saquon of old, right? Because we still don't have this great receiving core that Daniel Jones can rely on. I feel confident that Daniel Jones he'll turn those wheels on. He'll get us a few downs that we need, probably get us a couple touchdowns. But for me, this run, not let Logan Thomas have a career day against us. So please cover the tight end. But yeah, for me, it's getting back to this run game. We already know wide receiver, what we've got. And the defense, some of these guys are missing these tackles, which is really, really frustrating to watch. So I think that they need to tighten up on some of these fundamentals too. Yeah.
No, I totally agree with that. Yeah, and my thoughts exactly with Logan Thomas. I want fans who start, just fantasy players to wake up that Monday morning and bitch that they started Logan Thomas the night before because he got him negative points. That's what I want. That's my goal. But again, you're right. I mean, the Giants always struggle to cover tight ends. I have no doubt they're not going to really focus too much on him. I think offensively, you're right. I mean, we got to see the run game be successful again. I think Evan Neal could seriously help that. A lot of that's going to depend on Saquon. Here's what I want. If they do a pass play on first down, we haven't really had too much success on first down. You're getting a first down on first down. I want Jones to run the ball if his first guy is just not there. Go get 4, 5, 6 yards so that if we're running again on second down, which we do all the time, then we can get a first down off that, or at least make it 3rd and 1, and then we have the opportunity to run the ball again. But when we pass it, miss, run 2 yards, and it's 3rd and 8, we do a piss poor job of converting on those plays. Chris, what are your thoughts, man?
On what you're saying about the offense, or whatever?
Just in general. I mean, what are your thoughts on Washington and what the Giants have to do to seal?
Terry McLaurin, very underrated receiver. You hear his name, from the diehards of people that really follow him, but he's a top-notch receiver. So with our secondary, with the injuries, Adoree being out, that's a concern. My main concern is our inside linebackers. I think with McFadden, Crowder, and and Jalen, I mean, they fly around, but taking on blocks, concerns me, getting to that second level. And that's been the big problem. Once you get past Leonard and Dexter, is those inside linebackers able to shed blocks and scrape. So, does that mean that Wink brings another guy in the box, but then you're with a secondary that's beat up, and now you're going with like a single high. So I don't know. It's inside linebacker is a concern. You got to stop the running game of Washington, because you saw what they did against Philly. Heineke's not going to beat you, but the running game will of Washington. So stop that running game.
The Giants can't let Heineke make stupid plays against the Giants defense. Like, they're going to have to make sure that they're wrapping up if they get to him, not missing tackles. Because, I mean, he does find weird ways of making plays happen. He's not a good athlete. Someone brought it up on the show last night, one of the guests that we have. He's not a good athlete. He's not talented. But one thing that he does well is he's an escape artist, and he thinks very quickly on his feet.
Yeah.
Which is feet. I mean, look, if he had a good athletic body build, I mean, Christ, that's one of the best qualities you can have as a quarterback. Fortunately, he doesn't have it. But the Giants can't sleep on him. I don't care what his name is. They got to find ways to shut this dude down and take care of business.
Yeah.
I will say the kicker, Joey Sly, very sporadic kicker. So I think in the kicking game, definitely Gano has the edge in a tough game, in a tight game. Joey Sly, a little sporadic. He was actually with the Giants in training camp maybe about 5 years ago, but and he was released. But yeah, keep an eye on him to maybe miss a big kick. Which we all know Giant games is going to come down to 30 seconds in the game.
Definitely coming down to a field goal.
We know what's going to happen.
It's coming down to a field goal. And I would say penalties too. I know there's been some like bogus penalties, but how many times in the past 2 weeks it seems to be more and more that, it's like 2 steps forward and then 4 steps back. It's just some of these penalties are just game killers. So I would say they got to tighten up on the discipline too, though. I love the death stare that Brian Dable gives the refs, though. Like when he loses his mind, I love it.
I will say, like, if you watch that play, that dude was downfield. He was like 5 yards downfield, and it's like, dude,
I know
football.
Right. And you know who that was? That was Jack Anderson, the offensive lineman that got his ear chewed off by Dable a couple weeks ago on the 4th and 1 against Detroit. So Jack Anderson, come on, get your act together here.
I do not miss inconsistent, crappy football players. I just don't. It pains me, because that was the Giants the last 5 years. We would have guys that can make plays every now and then, have a good game, but when they crap the bed, man, they would just go out there and just absolutely blow it and tear the entire team down. And that sucked to watch. I can't wait to get, I can't wait for Brian Anderson to get the hell out of here. I can't watch that.
Yeah, no. And you know what? Listen, we are not the Kansas City Chiefs. You're not that good that you can overcome these massive amount of penalties, right? And it's partly because it's rebuilding, part of it's injury, and we just don't have some of it. We just don't have the talent. So have to play smart football. And I really hope this is the week they kind of get back to that, because they were doing pretty good for a while now. These last 2 weeks just really have been not great. It's like
especially when he takes a touchdown off the board, right? We can't afford that.
Yes. No, you can't afford that.
Hey, real quick, Real Cold G, he wasn't the first to bring it up. Joe brought it up. Real Cold G, he wants to talk about it too. Thoughts on Landon Collins? Would you guys like to see him a little bit more? Because Joe clearly would.
Yeah. No, he Brian Dable was asked about that today. Let me see. So the question was, Landon Collins, he played right after you guys signed him. You haven't elevated him in a while. Is it just that he hasn't fit in the game plan with the other inside linebackers? What happened with him? Brian Dable's answer was, each week we talk about the roster and whether it's the defensive scheme, the offensive scheme, what we need, that could change. That changes on a week-to-week basis. That's all he said. Regarding Landon Collins.
Yeah, I'm a little perplexed because you lost McKinney. These linebackers, having a hard time taking on blockers. He's basically your hybrid linebacker. Is it because they already elevated him twice, and if they elevate him one more time, they can't send him back to the practice squad, and then he's stuck on the 53? I'm not sure, but I thought for sure McKinney got hurt. We were going to see a lot more of Landon, but we'll see. We'll see. We'll see what happens this week.
Yeah.
It's weird, right?
Yeah.
It is. We'll love to see him use more, but again, if that productivity is just not really there from them and they're not seeing it in practice, man, I get it.
Yeah.
What?
You have to kind of read the tea leaves through the coach.
Yeah. It'd be a great week against his old team, right? And so it'd be a good week if they did activate him.
Yeah.
Well, all right, guys, let's do this. We can pretty much wrap it up right now. Let me just hear both your guys' thoughts on final score predictions. How about that? Chris, you go first. Final score prediction, Giants, Redskins. Commanders. Jesus Christ.
Oh,
Surprisingly, I'm feeling positive this week. I don't know why, but I feel like the crowds, it's going to be a playoff atmosphere. So if you're going to the game, listen, we got to treat it like a playoff game. Because
are you going, Chris? Real quick, are you going?
Yeah, I will be there. Be with it. So J19, everybody stop by and but get in there.
Let me just say that, Giants fans. Let me cut you off, Chris. Let me just tell the whole world. Go to J19 this Sunday if you get the chance. Chris welcomed me, my dad, my fiance, and my uncle, and we had an absolute phenomenal time last week when we watched the Giants Lions game. Chris, thank you so much. Your group there was awesome. I felt bad for that little kid, man. He was freezing his tail off.
My brother's, I know.
Is that your nephew? Yeah.
I know, you're right. Yes.
He was at that age where being freezing cold, you know, love football so much that's worth it. So it's like I saw that, I'm like, yeah, that sucks.
Yeah, he'll remember that. But yeah. But thanks, Mike. It was great having you. It was awesome. And maybe we'll catch you there, Nikki, at one point. So at a tailgate.
Yes,
tailgate.
I know. I missed you at the I went to the Ravens game.
Yes, that would have been great. That would have been great.
I was a little late, so
yeah, that's all right. We'll catch you next time. But anyway, getting back, I'm going to say Giants. The crowd's going to be rocking. The team had a little break. Dable, put the pads on this week. I'm going to say Giants. I'm going to say 21. Weird score. 21-18. Giants.
Good. Nikki.
No, I'm feeling like some of this momentum, right? I'm going to go way out of the box here. I'm going to go like 30-20, something like that.
Wow, that would be even better. I hope you're right, Nikki.
I hope I am too.
That would be a wonderful, wonderful day in Giants land. I'm going to say 23-21. We always have a weird way to find field goals to be in the mix here. I trust Gano to be that guy. It's going to come down to the last seconds, 20-21. Gano's going to kick it right in there, and we're going to win the game, and we're going to walk out a playoff lock. Not technically, but eventually we will lock a playoff spot, but we will be a playoff team, guys.
Now, would you bet it? It's 2.5 last night.
No, I'm going to bet the opposite so that in case they do blow this game, I make a lot of money, and then I go get a mountain of buffalo wings and a big steak and a whole bunch of expensive alcohol and cry myself to sleep.
That sounds like a good way to cope with.
Yeah, that's the coping mechanism. 9 out of 10 doctors recommend, promise.
Yes.
But all right, guys.
We're feeling a win. All of us agree. Giants win.
Giants W, no doubt about it.
Back on track. Back on track.
Back on track. Yep. Yeah. Back on track this week.
Yeah, you hear that, Rio? Giants win, no doubt about it.
Yeah, Rio. I will see him tomorrow because I will do his show tomorrow. So
good stuff. Ryan, can you share the link with us tomorrow so that us
share that link.
Tune in. We'd love to see you kick some butt on that show.
Yep. Yeah. I had to do a Cowboy show last week, right? Go head to head. This week it's the Commanders, and who do we have next week? It's probably the Eagles.
Eagles.
Yep.
Oh, great! I'm just gonna go head to head with everybody, I guess.
Yeah, I might take a bye week myself from just even watching football during that week, but
yeah.
Hey, but this is a very exciting football game, the most important game we've played in since 2016. So let's enjoy it for what it's worth. Go Giants! Hopefully, we'll bring home this W. And Giants fans, thank you all for tuning in for this episode. Always appreciate you guys stopping by. Make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button because we want to keep bringing good content to you. Thank you. Have a great night. Go Giants.
Go Giants.
Go Giants.